Drumming and rhythm is about tapping into community so we can reach for a version of ourselves that is higher than we could have accomplished on our own. And I'm going to share with you just a really cool rhythm and concept and song that was introduced to me, and it's just really cool and such a cool groove. And we don't want to borrow stuff, we want to steal stuff, just these ideas and concepts. And drummers are so cool at sharing just concepts and information and approaches, and it's like, oh cool, like I never thought of that, let me try that, oh cool. And what's awesome is we're going to become our own best selves through drumming, through this approach. It's not like a plagiarism copying kind of way. This is like you take the concept and then when you do it, it becomes your own signature thing. And just like our fingerprints, we almost can't help just being ourselves when we play a really cool idea. So this one, it's called Big Words. Really cool groove, really cool song. Now I've never met the drummer and I don't know how they came up with this, but it is really cool. So let's check it out. Now, first when I heard this, I was like, what is going on? So I'm going to share with you my process of how to figure something like this out. Like that kind of sound. That was originally like throwing my ear off, and I'm like, is some kind of polyrhythm happening here? So, man, now to figure something like this out, I believe you can't be just counting. You're going to be stuck in your head. You're going to be a mess. And we need to think beyond that. So the first thing is like, what's a constant, what I call a grid? And a grid is just, we've got the beats, but it's like the subdivisions that make up the in-between pieces. So I've got to hear something that's constant. So let's listen to it again and try to find the grid. So I noticed first, if I tried to play a quarter note, flip me. That kind of worked. But then I started to follow the notes of the guitar. And what I'm trying to do is like, okay, that it works. And I'm trying to find the beginning of the next cycle. So I just went. There it is there. So I'll do it with it. It's like, okay, there's a repeating cycle. So there's the grid. Now I needed a tool beyond counting to figure this out. And what I used was something called konnakol. And that's an Indian rhythmic system to say syllables that we're going to use in different rhythms. So we're only going to need some basic building blocks to this, which is 2s, 3s, and 4s. That's it. 2s, 3s, and 4s. So 2 is taka. Taka, 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 ta. 3 is takita, 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 da. And 4 is taka-di-mi, taka-di-mi. Taka-di-mi, 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 da. So it took me a while to get used to this where it wasn't like a tongue twister, but just get the gist of it. And with just those building blocks, there's a lot we can do. So let's go back to the riff now, that rhythm. And so I started, okay, I've got the dugga 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 dugga. I'm like, okay, if I figure out how many blocks that is, you could hear it as Taka-dimi, 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 taka. Taka-dimi, 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 taka. Taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka. Taka-dimi. You got to breathe somewhere. Taka, taka-dimi, taka. Now that's taka-dimi, 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 taka. So 4, 4, 4. So that's 12. And then plus 2, that's 14. So I'm like, oh, okay, 14. So that's kind of 7 really, right? If I put it to its smallest divisible, make it a little simpler, it's like, oh, that's kind of 7. So, okay, good. Now I know. Now I don't know if I could have counted that out that fast, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe, but but I just started with the grid. So I just listened to it. Taka, taka, okay, that works. There's the beginning, just listening. And yeah, just using, okay, I've got these 2s, 3s, and 4s and figuring out the blocks and the structure of it. And it's just a way to understand rhythm. I'm aware of the numbers, but I'm not counting. I'm not using traditional methods. Can you imagine a 1E and a 2E? And like, forget it. You're going to be stuck in your head. You're going to be overthinking. No way. Now, konnakol in 7, you could go 4 plus 3. So taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita. Now that's a little fast with this, but you could approach it like that too. Taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita. Totally goes with the riff. And I've seen many guitarists use konnakol as a tool for their playing.
Using konnakol, you can just combine 4 plus 3. Taka-dimi, takite. Taka-dimi, takite. Taka-dimi, takite. Taka-dimi, takite. Taka-dimi, takite. Da. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's try that with the song. Taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, takita, taka-dimi, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi. Or that first way, which was taka-dimi, 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 taka-taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka-taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka-taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka-dimi, taka. You can definitely hear that 7. Taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita. Okay, now I figured out bands like Tool. I've been able to figure out some of their songs that I would not be counting, and I don't think I ever could have cracked the code. And many other rhythms that I've come up with being creative, or just to understand, in bands like Led Zeppelin and stuff, or Jimi Hendrix, just any rhythm really, to be able to see it, understand it, and then be able to put it on the set. So let's put this on the set. Now I didn't just listen to this one time and all of a sudden get it. I had to be very patient, and I challenged myself not to slow it down, and I listened to it just over and over and over. And with that grid, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita, I even will write that out on paper and start to try to hear okay, where are those different sounds? And it's only bass drum, doom, and some kind of hi-hat stack thing, but I'll just call it a hi-hat, that kind of sound. And then of course the snare, and that's really it. Now we know the general 7, taka-dimi, takita, taka-dimi, takita. So once I found out where the bass and snares fell, I realized there's another way just to sing the actual pattern of the basses and snares. So I came up with this. Taka, ataka-dimi, takita, takita, taka, ataka-dimi, takita, takita, taka, ataka-dimi, takita, takita, taka, ataka-dimi, takita, takita, da. Now that little is like a pickup. Taka, ataka-dimi. So it's like just a little added right before the next block. So that's the only really difference to what we learned at the beginning. So taka, it's a little pickup. Taka, ataka-dimi, takita, takita. So 2, so taka, little pickup, and then to the 4, taka-dimi, and then 2 3s, takita, takita. Quick note here, as I'm putting this video together, I see there's a little maybe clarification that would help as I jump one konnakol, saying the rhythm to another. So when I was saying takadimi takita, takadimi takita, takadimi takita, takadimi takita, that's like the grid. That's like all the pieces there, so I can figure, okay, what's all the spaces that are being used to play the rhythm on top of it. Now what's cool about konnakol is you can sing anything. So what I did next was, okay, now that we have the grid, what's the kick and snare rhythm that goes on top of it? And you can also use konnakol to sing that, which is super fun. So think like We Will Rock You. That could be like doom, doom, ta, doom, doom, ta. If you did it in konnakol, it's kind of like ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, right? You hear like, oh, there's 2 bass drums and 1 snare. So the rhythm that I heard the drummer doing in this track, I'm like, oh, I could put konnakol on top of that. And then it ended up being taka, ataka, dimi, takita, takita, do di, do dati, do di, do dati, do di. So I'm just listening to the kick and snares and also some of the hi-hats and just singing that with konnakol. So there's 2 ways to sing this, and both using the tool of konnakol. So I realized as I'm putting this video together for you, a little clarification there can help, because all of a sudden I'm singing it one way and then all of a sudden you hear I'm singing it another way. That's the beauty with singing these rhythms that's not counting. It's really fluid. You could sing it this way, you could sing it that way, you could sing just the kick and snares, you could sing the grid, you could even sing what the guitar's doing, what the singer's doing. It's really a beautiful tool that's very fluid, and you have a lot of freedom and you can have a lot of fun. So back to the video, have fun.
Taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita, taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita, taka.
And it was really neat to me once I started to hear it. I'm like, oh, that hi-hat is like on the second. Taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita, taka, taka, dimi, takita, taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita. So in some real interesting places, kind of off the beat, which initially tricked my ear. But now, since I have this system, I can find, oh, okay, the hi-hat is there. So I'm not guessing, I know exactly where these parts are. So taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita, 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 taka. Now let's try it on the other side. I always challenge myself, by the way. If I can do it one way, I at least want to know what it feels like the other way. So I don't let even if it feels awful or I'm like, oh man, on a live show, I'd never do it that way. But, but just to feel it, and it actually becomes a habit where you're like, okay, at least I know what it feels like there. And you kind of get all your limbs used to constantly redistributing the sounds into what I call zones. So you see I'm doing this open-handed, which is really a lot of freedom. And of course you'll have, like if you played this at a live show, you'll have a way that feels strongest, but get it into all your limbs so at least you know what it feels like, especially with a linear groove like this. So let's try it on this side. Taka, taka, dimi, takita, takita, 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 da. Whether you're brand new to open-handed drumming or you've been playing for years and want to take your game to a new level, I put together a great guide for you. You can get it for free at chrislesso.com/OHD. chrislesso.com/OHD. And of course that stands for open-handed drumming. And this will be a gateway into your next level of excellence on the drums and in life. So my name is Chris Lesso. Subscribe to the channel. Connect with me at chrislesso.com. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how open-handed drumming has impacted your weaker side, your creativity, and your ultimate confidence in drumming and in everything you do. Now I have a concept that I call part practices. And part practice is like, okay, we know the groove itself, but what's like the essence of like what makes it challenging? What skill do I need to make this come alive? And when I notice with this is like hand to hand. This is like, or sorry, hand to foot and hand to hand, but hand to foot definitely. And you really can't do that enough. Like when you go just move it around the kit. And of course with the left foot, I don't have a double bass. I find that a little more challenging. But great practice, just go as slow as you need to go to have that flow between your limbs. Now another one is that bass drum double. So if I go to my foot, if you're comfortable with, and we'll go into foot technique another time, but I'm basically getting 2 for the price of 1 there. And I'm playing lightly, playing very lightly. So if I'm going, adding a double there, that might be like hand, foot, foot. Or hand, hand, foot, foot, right, left. Now that in itself is very cool. Make sure it's clean. Dynamics, soft. So the hand to hand and the double. Now, this is a challenge for the feet, this groove. So if I'm going, if I play the groove, taka, so the full groove again, taka, taka dimi, takita, takita, taka, taka dimi, takita, takita, taka. And I kind of like play the hands in the air and I find like what's just going on with the feet or actually the bass drum. Let's check it out. So, so what I notice is it's basically one single and 3 doubles in a row. So you got to be playing very lightly for that. Now you could just do that as an exercise on its own. 1 single, 3 doubles, double. 1 single, double, double, double. Single, double, double, double. Single, double. Da 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 ta taka 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 ta. So a good like foot, maybe start that heel down to get that muscle. Ta 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 ta. Of course the left foot too. Don't leave it out, even though it's not going to be in this groove. Ta 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 ta. And because when everything's full blown going, that foot's gonna have to fit really cleanly in there. So there's a lot of lessons with this groove. So it's linear. Of course, we used konnakol to crack the code, and it's an odd time groove, which is in 7. So it's very cool. But a good approach that I use for odd times is to always kind of make them feel like 4/4. So I like this groove. It has a real, it has this kind of nice flow to it that it doesn't really feel odd, and it doesn't feel, like jerky, like sometimes an odd number could be. It really has a nice flow to it. So I'm trying to make it kind of feel like 4/4, and it's definitely a great challenge to just flow limb to limb, keep it in the odd time, and to use konnakol to unlock your rhythmic expression. So have fun with these concepts. Get a lot of separate little exercises out of it. Go slow at first. Focus on your movement, breathe, relax, and have fun becoming your best self through drumming. My name's Chris Lesso. Subscribe to the channel for a lot more open-handed content and get your free open-handed drumming guide at chrislesso.com/OHD. chrislesso.com/OHD. And of course, OHD is open-handed drumming to unlock a rock star level of confidence that you may never have experienced, and to open your heart to bold self-expression, to uncovering your signature sound on the drums and in life.